So boys and girls, for the skill that we're learning today, we're learning about plot, which are what that happens in the story. Plot. What is plot?
The events in the story.
Good, exactly, the events in the story. All stories have events that happen. Some of those events make us get really nervous and excited. So that's part of our topography. We have that rising action, what makes us get excited or nervous or worrisome about the events in the story. And then they reach a peak. And what do we call the peak?
The climax.
The climax. And then you're like, how is that going to be solved? And then what is it called as it's being solved? Resolution. Reputation is the other RE word that is like how we know a person. Right? We were talking about that word earlier. But this word resolution, if you look at the word resolution, there's a word part in there, solved. It's a word part like how it was solved, how it was resolved or solved. You still with me? Okay, so we're going to talk about these parts of a plot that goes along with every story that we read in our skill practice book today on page 3. You just read about Julia. And what was Julia worried about? Good, yeah, the school fundraiser. So now they're going to ask you to put the event, the rising action, in order. And we can just talk about it together. So the first problem or conflict is Julia is worried about the what? The fundraiser, right? That's the first event. And then now we have rising action. What happens after she is nervous about the fundraiser? How does the plot develop? And you can always look back. Always, always. You do not have to ever memorize any story. So I expect you to look back at the plot and think about what develops next. After she's nervous about the fundraiser, what's the next event that occurs? A couple people, just hold on. Let me let everyone else see it. So she's nervous about the fundraiser, and she decides how does she tackle the fundraiser. Okay, all right, we're almost all there. Are you ready, Chloe? You think so? Okay, Brody, what do you think?
She thought it didn't seem that much.
She doesn't feel like she's that organized. So what is she going to do to get organized? What things does she start doing?
Like putting like, the tables up.
Good. So the first thing she does is what? What's the first event? Jaylene.
Make
That's the first event. She makes signs. Everyone find that in your book. We're going to verify our answer. Before we say that's correct, we're going to verify the answer. Did you find it? Go ahead and underline it to show you're right. Just like a lawyer, when you go to the courtroom, you have to have that evidence. So the first thing that happens is she makes signs. So the problem was the fundraiser, and the next thing was making signs. We're going to go ahead and fill that in our chart. Her first problem was she had a fundraiser. She had to organize. It's a lot of pressure to organize a fundraiser. Okay, that's the problem. And you can just write organize a fundraiser. And then the next thing, she says, okay, I'm not going to get too stressed out. I'm going to make a plan. What's her plan? The first thing was to do what? Go ahead and write it down. So good, organized fundraiser, good. And then the next thing she's going to do, her plan and our plot of the story is that she's going to make what?
signs.
Excellent. So that's number 2, the rising action. She's going to make signs. Okay, and then the book helps you out. They give you the next rising action. She set up what?
Tables. She set up tables in the gym.
That's right. She set up tables. So that's the second one. Good. So see, they already wrote that one for you. She set up tables, and then, and then the next part before we have the climax. What's the third thing she's doing? Going back in the text. What's the third thing she's doing? Kevin.
Hang decorations.
Yes, she hangs decorations. So these are the things, okay? She's getting it together. She's got a plan. She's getting things ready and organized for the fundraiser. And then, what's the climax? She all of a sudden, what does she realize?
They forgot. They forgot.
What did she forget? And you don't have to write anymore. Just say it with me, and I'll
She
let you
forgot-
finish it in later.
She forgot the bake cell.
She forgot to do what?
The bake cell.
To organize who's going to bake things. So we're going to write that in later, but let's keep talking. So Devin, stay with me. I appreciate you trying to get it finished, but I'm rushing us along just a little bit, and I'll let you go back. Okay, so she's like, oh my gosh, the baked goods. Okay, that's like the freak out moment where you're on the edge of your seat. Now really, you're just reading about this and you're not that worried. But when you're reading a long book, like there's a boy in the girls' bathroom, or Blood on the River, or books like that, you're going to start really feeling those pivotal climax points throughout the story. So she realizes that she didn't have any baked goods. That's the climax. What's the resolution? How does she solve that dilemma? We're up here at the climax, so where's the resolution going down, getting the problem solved? What does she do? Let me let everyone go back in the text, because you always want to go back and look in the text. Half of you, let me give the others some time to reflect back on the story. What does she do? How does she solve her dilemma? Okay, Colin.
She called several of her friends.
That's right. She called several of her friends. And they say, what? No way, Jose. I'm not baking anything for you.
No.
What do they say?
They got them to agree.
Yeah, they're like, cool, I'll do that for you. I can handle that. I can make some brownies, right? Everyone loves brownies. I know I do. All right, so she bakes some brownies. So then that's the last one. That was a resolution. She calls some friends and they all agree to help. And that's the plot of a story. You have your rising action, your events that lead to the climax, your pivotal point, and then what comes last after your climax? Your resolution. Yeah, it's a big word, and all it means is what?
How the story was solved.
Very good. How the problem or the dilemma was solved.